Right, Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone at Vulwell, and Shalom to Akim that are teaching this word around the globe with faith and truth and in sincerity. This is the brother Caleb from the GMS London Forecasters Camp coming back at you with another lesson to edify the Lord's elect. As always, I'd like to start by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites. The real Israelites, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, and West Africans predominantly. However, you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other nations because Israel, as we're scattered amongst all people throughout various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible that was named Israel, then you too are an Israelite no matter what you may look like. Because the book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18 states that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. So I've got a very interesting article that I was just reading here from CNN, and it says, gun sales rise among black people as they look for firearm training and education. Now, first of all, we aren't black people, we're Israelites. You know, yes, we have dark skin, but we're not black. As you can see, the hair on my head is black, the hair on my beard is black, but my skin is brown, just like this wooden cabinet that's behind me. Yeah, you wouldn't call this a black cabinet, would you? You say, no, it's a brown cabinet. So why are you calling us black people? It's bullshit. Anyway, gun sales rise among so-called black people, Israelites, as they look for firearm training and education. So it says, this is published 23rd today. Let me just play this little video clip and see what's going on. I haven't watched it, see what it's saying.
Gun sales have been spiking since the pandemic began. The people fueling the rise? Women and black Americans. Here's CNN's Ryan Young.
Range is hot, eyes and ears.
It felt awesome. It's a little intimidating. You're like, yes.
These black women at this gun range in Covington, Georgia are practicing how to fire a gun, some of them for the very first time.
I needed to learn how, when, how-tos, and do's and don'ts.
What's it like to be out here with all these black women?
It's beautiful. It's like I was saying, for me, it's a feeling of self-empowerment.
And a desire for training to protect themselves and their families.
I feel like in this country, in this climate, if you don't know how to take care of yourself, you're at a disadvantage.
Gun sales spiked during the COVID-19 pandemic, with women and people of color driving a majority of that increase. According to the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the number of black buyers increased 58% last year compared to 2019, more than any other group.
I think for the most part, we're getting guns for self-defense.
Philip Smith is the president of the National African American Gun Association. He says his group has seen a dramatic increase in membership over the last year.
I'm talking to black doctors, nurses, lawyers, biochemists, from every walk of life in the African American community. And they're saying, hey, Phil, we had conversations about getting a gun tonight.
He says they've seen more interest from women specifically.
Black women and black families have stepped up, and they're joining in droves.
Some of the people here have never shot before. You can see them getting that one-on-one training before aiming their gun at the target and firing. They say this is something that's very empowering to them and something they're glad they've been able to do. While the latest spike in gun sales among black buyers may be driven in part by the pandemic and an uptick in crime in major cities nationwide, it's not necessarily new.
I mean, guns have always been in our history. You know, it's just not told.
But could carrying a gun for protection become a factor that could lead to a deadly confrontation with police? That's also on the minds of black gun owners.
When you have a gun and you're a black gun owner, you have a different set of rules.
Philando Castile, who was licensed to carry, was shot and killed in 2016 by a police officer during a traffic stop. The officer said he opened fire when he thought Castile put his hand on his firearm. He was later found not guilty on all counts.
But we don't want to turn around the next day and say, you know what, we need to all put our guns away. Because that's the worst thing you can do. Because we're getting shot anyway. We need to protect ourselves and let everyone know that you have a right to the Second Amendment. Our ancestors died for that. My ancestors died for that.
On the range, they want to shift what gun ownership in America looks like.
Perfect. Wow. Very good shooting.
Are you hoping to change the perception of black folks and guns?
I do, actually. I do, because I don't see why we can't exercise our Second Amendment rights. If everyone else can't, why can't we?
And Don, it's really all about changing the perception when it comes to black people and guns. This effort here is to make sure people realize it's their Second Amendment right to be able to fire and bear arms. That's something that's been repeated over and over again throughout this course, and something that people here seem to enjoy.
Well, here's the point. How are you going to beat Esau with his own blessing, which is the sword? You know, a gun is just another form of a sword. It's a killing instrument, and that is Esau's blessing. You're not going to beat Esau at his own game. Furthermore, if you look up in this video, what is it? It's bare so-called black women up in there, and it just looks completely wrong. You know what I mean? It just looks completely wrong, because the women aren't supposed to be the ones going to war. What happened to putting your faith in the Most High, man? Doesn't it say, woe to them that trust in the shadow of Egypt? That's what you're doing by putting all your faith in a gun. And what did Yahushua say to Peter when he lopped off Malchus, the servant of the high priest's ear? He said, put up thy sword. He that lived by the sword shall die by the sword. Now, it's ridiculous, because really what you so-called black women should really be doing is getting behind an Israelite man in the truth for protection, really. Because really you're going to need that spiritual protection when Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua starts to open up in this place. A gun is only so good as many bullets as you've got. What happens when you fire all your bullets and you've got none left? What are you going to put your faith in then? Some guy's going to run up on you, and he's going to have his way with you just as easily as you would have if you didn't have the gun. So it's ridiculous, because, again, the woman, especially the black woman, she's without faith. So therefore, she's going to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Let me get some precepts. Maybe I should read this article too. But I don't know if I can be bothered, man, because it just annoys me dealing with this stuff. I think the video said enough, to be honest. So let's just get some precepts. Yes, Matthew 26 and 52. Yeah. So here we go. Matthew 26 starting from 46, it says, rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that doth betray me. And while he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came with him a great multitude with swords and staves from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, whomsoever I shall kiss, the same is he, hold him fast. And forthwith he came to meet Yahushua and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. And Yahushua said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Yahushua and took him. And behold, one of them which were with Yahushua, which is the Apostle Peter, stretched out his hand and drew his sword, and struck off the servant of the high priest's ear and smote it off. And then Yahushua said unto him, Put up again thy sword into its place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Yeah? Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? But then how shall the scriptures be fulfilled, that thus it must be? So he said, Put up thy sword, for he that liveth by the sword shall perish with the sword. Now, Esau's blessing was the sword. Let's go to Genesis 27. And by thy sword thou shalt live. Yep. And it came to pass as soon as, Genesis 27 verse 30, and it came to pass as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out of the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also had made savoury meat and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it me, that I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him, and yea, he shall be blessed? And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, O father, also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is he not rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. You took away my birthright, and behold, he hath taken away my blessing. And hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren, and I have given him for servants and handmaids, and with corn and with wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Here's the point. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. Here's the point. Genesis 27 verse 40. And by thy sword thou shalt live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father had blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then when I slay my brother Jacob. See, Esau had that murderous spirit on him, and that's why he was given the blessing of the sword. And it said, He that liveth by the sword shall perish with the sword. So you've got this article here saying gun sales have gone up, particularly amongst so-called black women. But what does that mean? It means that they're putting their faith in the sword, which is Esau's blessing, which is just carnal and wrong. But it's to be expected from these women, because these women are minus faith and they are carnal minded. But really they should be lining up behind their man, a man that's correct with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai and getting in order. Going to the gun range and trying to fire, lick a couple shots, ain't getting in order. They ain't getting in order. That's ridiculous. Completely fucking ridiculous. What are you going to do? You're going to shoot a chariot when Yahweh Shai comes? What are you going to do? You're going to shoot an ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile, when they get fired? You women need to get in order, man. Look, I'm going to stop this lesson because I'm getting wound up just thinking about this stuff. But Lord willing, it's been edifying. So with that, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Makakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Shalom to you, Arkim, teaching this word around the globe with faith and truth and sincerity. And until the next lesson, Lord willing, I say Shalom, wa ababa, wa kram yashawala. Shalom for now.